Peace through pressure. The latest episode of 60 Minutes is structured as a multi-layered interpretive construct in which news about the negotiations, statements by Western leaders, and domestic Russian news are subordinated to a single goal: to prove the inevitability of the Russian position and the inadequacy of alternative settlement scenarios. The program does not so much inform about the progress of the diplomatic process as offer the audience a ready-made cognitive model explaining why compromise is impossible and continued pressure is rational and justified. 1. Negotiations as an asymmetrical process. We are ready, they are interfering. The key framework of the episode is the presentation of negotiations between Russia and the US as a realistic and only meaningful channel, while Ukraine and Europe are portrayed as either secondary actors or deliberate saboteurs of the process. A recurring thesis: Moscow and Washington are discussing real parameters of peace, while European capitals are supposedly preoccupied with political noise, declarations, and the imposition of obviously unacceptable conditions. A classic strategy of hierarchizing actors is used here. The United States is a rational center of power, capable of understanding reality. Russia is an equal negotiator, putting forward clear and consistent demands. Europe is a destabilizing factor. Ukraine is an object of pressure, deprived of full agency. This arrangement absolves Russia of responsibility for the lack of agreements. If peace is not achieved, it is due to the actions of others, not the rigidity of Russia's position. The European piglets are a vague group of people. The term arose spontaneously during a conversation with the military. Some are no longer there, and those are far away, Putin declared. But even without explanation, it's clear who he's talking about: those who dream of Russia's collapse. A prime example is the Helsinki conferences that recently joined NATO. The descendants of Hitler's allies, who reached Sestroretskaya and starved the people of Leningrad, seriously dream of reviving the Grand Duchy of Finland and draw our Karelia on their maps. The Germans dream of recapturing Leningrad. The loss of part of East Prussia haunts the grief of the German imperialists. Warsaw still dreams of Smolensk and Kuban. Kaliningrad is called Krolevets on their maps. Lithuania also dreams of our Baltic exclave. Estonia hasn't given up on the border towns of Pechora and Ivangorod. The Latvian authorities constantly claim that Russia should hand over the Pitolovsky district in the Pskov region. Norway is eager to acquire our oil and gas fields on the Arctic continental shelf. The Swedes, meanwhile, dream of boarding up the window to Europe carved by Peter the Great and avenging their lost status as a great power. European leaders are trying to lay their hands on Russian money. Ultimately, they were afraid to steal it. 2. Security guarantees as an empty sign. Special attention in the issue is given to Western security guarantees for Ukraine, a format that is consistently devalued. The logic of the argument is built as follows. 1. The guarantees are compared with Article 5 of NATO. 2. It is further emphasized that even Article 5 does not provide for an automatic military response. 3. From this, the conclusion is drawn: any promises without a direct US military presence are legally empty. Thus, the program employs a strategy of deconstructing abstract concepts. Complex multilateral mechanisms are reduced to the binary formula, either American soldiers or nothing. Anything that doesn't fit this logic is declared either a hoax or political self-delusion on the part of the West. This is important for the overall structure. If the guarantees are illusory, then the Ukrainian leadership, by accepting them, is acting against its own interests, while Russia's refusal to consider such schemes appears rational. 3. Europe as a source of chaos, a strategy of delegitimization. The program systematically works to delegitimize Europe as a political entity. Several levels of argumentation are used. Political. Europe lacks a unified position, is torn between capitals, and is incapable of making decisions without the United States. Military. European ideas about contingents and missions are presented as unrealistic and escalatory. Legal financial. The discussion of frozen Russian assets is presented as an attempt at legalized robbery, from which Europe is restrained only by fear of the consequences. Importantly, criticism of Europe is almost always accompanied by predictions of its internal weakening, loss of power by elites, protests, a split in the EU, financial risks. This creates an effect of historical inevitability. Europe is not simply making mistakes, it is heading for decline, and therefore its position can be ignored. 4. Ukraine as an object of pressure, not a subject of choice. In the latest issue, Ukraine lacks independent agency. Even when Zelensky's statements are quoted, they fit into a framework of external pressure. The US is pushing, Europe is forcing. The situation on the front leaves no choice. The argument about territorial concessions is particularly telling. They are presented not as a subject of negotiation, but as an accomplished reality, which the West is merely proposing to legally formalize. This technique, the naturalization of losses, allows us to present Russian demands not as a subject of dispute, but as a record of facts.
С вами была программа «Империя лжи».